My friends, the Marvels is now in the rearview mirror, and the future of the MCU is what lies ahead. And with all of the changes and announcements, what does that future really look like? What's happening with the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Let's talk about it. What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Jones Vibes. Hit the like button if you think that Shang-Chi 2 should be out by now, and let's dive in. So yeah, guys, today is just another one of those days that is filled with so much news. The last week or so, my timeline has just been filled with so many different announcements and bits of news concerning the MCU. I think that at least some of this stuff is going to be happening, and so today I just wanted to vibe out a little bit and talk about this and kind of just discuss the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As always, if you have an opinion about any of this, please leave it down in the comments, and yeah, let's dive in. So the very first thing I wanted to talk about is this rumor that Cillian Murphy is also in the running to play Victor Von Doom, and the rumor has been that it was Josh Hartnett. I swear, and I even made a video about it a couple of months ago. I thought it was like an official thing that Josh Hartnett was taking the role of Victor Von Doom, but now we're getting word that Cillian Murphy is in the running, and after Oppenheimer, obviously he's a force in Hollywood to be reckoned with. He's a phenomenal actor. You got Peaky Blinders, you have Batman Begins. He's already proved that he can be a phenomenal villain with Jonathan Crane, but he's just one of those actors that has so much depth to him, and I think that really, I know I was like totally all for Josh Hartnett, and I still would be if that was the case, but when you're comparing these two actors, Cillian Murphy to Josh Hartnett, man, I think I would prefer Cillian Murphy. I mentioned the depths, and just relating to that, the range, like if you've seen 28 Days Later, if you've seen Red Eye, he's just such a phenomenal actor, and I know we're all gearing up to get Doctor Doom in the MCU. There's been so many different stories with Kang and how it's going to correlate to Doctor Doom and is Doctor Doom replacing Kang and blah, blah, blah. There's so much news out there. But one thing that we can be certain of right now is that Doctor Doom is coming to the MCU. And so, if it was Cillian Murphy, I think this would just be very, very badass. To me, just thinking back to Secret Wars, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, and thinking about that last little panel of Doctor Doom, like looking at Victor's face in that, and then picturing Cillian Murphy in that same exact position in that scene, it just works for me. And he has such a youthful look. You even saw that in Oppenheimer when he's showing Oppenheimer when he's young and then all the way until he's old. With Victor, I mean, I'm not expecting like a full origin story for Victor Von Doom, but I at least want to see hopefully some flashbacks or just like how he got his powers and just like his entire rise to power, because it's very important to document that, especially if he's going to be the big bad in Secret Wars. But yeah, like I said, there is no official announcement at this point. We have My Time to Shine Hello on Twitter saying Cillian Murphy is Marvel's top choice to play Doctor Doom in the MCU. We also have Can We Get Some Toast saying Doctor Doom will most likely not appear in Matt Shakman's Fantastic Four. He will cameo at best. And so if he does play Doctor Doom in the MCU, I just think that is a great, great call by the MCU, and I hope he is at the top of the list because he deserves it. But let me know all your thoughts on that, and let's move on. So, the next massive story that has dropped this last week is that Michael Waldron is set to write not only Kang Dynasty, but Secret Wars as well. This comes after the announcement that Jeff Loveness was removed from the Kang Dynasty, as well as Destin Daniel Cretton as director of the Kang Dynasty, and I think this is pretty huge news. Obviously, a director hasn't been announced for either of those projects. With Destin going away from that and into Wonder Man and Shang-Chi 2, it kind of leaves an opening for Kang Dynasty. I'm very curious with the relationship between Michael Waldron and Sam Raimi, if Sam Raimi were to step into those shoes and take over Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. I think that'd be a very interesting thing, and I'd like to see a lot of people's takes if that were to be the announcement. If they were like, Sam Raimi is the guy, and he's doing both Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, I don't know. I don't really know how I would feel about that, personally. But as for Michael Waldron, and back to that, I think that this is huge. A lot of this comes from an article with Deadline, and the first announcement says that Michael Waldron has been tapped to write Marvel Studios' Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Waldron had already been set to write Avengers: Secret Wars, the installment that would follow Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, and will now write both Avengers sequels. Waldron has become one of Marvel's most trusted creative minds, having previously created and served as showrunner of Season 1 of Loki, as well as writing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And the move makes sense to the studio to have him pen both films. And a big reason why I like this is that I think it's very important to be cohesive. Reading and learning about the inception of the MCU, you realize that a lot of the same faces had a lot to do with those first couple phases. And when you're looking at the Kang Dynasty and then going into Secret Wars, I would like it if both of these films felt the same. That's kind of how the Avengers films have been in the past. Joss Whedon, I know he has a lot of noise surrounding him these days, but he had a ton to do with Phase 1 and Phase 2. He was mainly responsible for the first Avengers, and then he does Avengers Age of Ultron. And so those two films feel like they kind of have their own voice, and then you move into Infinity War and Endgames, and you have the Russos. Those two kind of feel like they have their own voice. And so at least having one voice with the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars that's the same, I think that's a really, really smart decision. Now, as far as the director goes, I'm honestly really hoping that they get the same director for both movies as well. It does just make things feel more connected. And if you had Sam Raimi do the Kang Dynasty and then you got John Watts to do Secret Wars, like it wouldn't feel the same. And I'm not doubting Kevin Feige and his decisions. Ultimately, I think they're going to make the right decision here, but this is a great sign so far. There's also a lot of talk that Michael Waldron would tap Eric Martin to be kind of his counterpart, and I think that would be perfect. Eric Martin worked on Loki Season 2, a lot of brilliance on Loki Season 1 as well. He was a staff writer on that. And so I think that both of them together would do a phenomenal job, but as far as Loki goes and Michael Waldron did a lot of the world building for what Loki was going to be. There are even pictures of him with a whiteboard and like everything laid out. Like you can see how specific and just kind of how his mind works. And so hopefully this one unified voice building out this huge broad picture with a Kang Dynasty leading into the Secret Wars. Hopefully it's the right decision. And I got a lot of faith in this Michael Waldron guy. I think this is great news. So yeah, guys, a lot of good stuff. I think the last thing that I saw recently was just regarding Thor 5. There was a tweet circulating via Daniel Richtman just saying that Marvel reportedly wants Thor 5 to have a darker tone. And I think you should. They were even talking about bringing in Gareth Edwards as the director. And yeah, I mean, that would be cool. Again, just like all of this news, like a lot of this hasn't been officially announced. So this is just speculation. But as for a darker tone for Thor 5, I would just say yes, like absolutely. Thor Ragnarok, that was a lot of fun, and it was fun to change things up, especially after Thor the Dark World. Thor the Dark World is among probably my bottom 5 in the MCU. And so picking up the pace in Thor Ragnarok, bringing that humor, I think Taika Waititi's voice was just phenomenal in that movie, and it really captured this new side of the MCU that James Gunn was just bringing with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was fun, it was zany, it was really cool, and it captured a different side of Thor than we had seen, and I thought Chris Hemsworth knocked it out of the park. But then leading into Love and Thunder, I think a lot of people can agree with me on this, that it just felt like overkill. That movie just wasn't taking itself seriously at all. Like, at least in Thor Ragnarok, you have Bruce Banner in the Quinjet. Is that what it's called, the Quinjet? But he's in the jet, and that recording pops up of Black Widow, of Natasha talking to him, saying, hey, big guy, or whatever that speech is. But, like, even those small little things in Thor Ragnarok just give it some heart, and they connect it to the stakes of the universe that this is existing in. But then you have Thor Love and Thunder, and it felt just so out of nowhere and all over the place. But Thor 5, having a dark tone, I think you absolutely have to. I think you absolutely have to turn that corner, and you have Thor get a little bit darker, and then hopefully we get World War Hulk, and we get a dark Bruce Banner tale, and we just start maybe moving things in a more serious direction as we get towards these Avengers films. Because I could be wrong, but I think that's what people want. Really. So anyways, that's about it for all the Marvel news today. I do have another Marvel video that I'm working on talking about Anya Taylor-Joy as Silver Surfer, and so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, please let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments regarding all of this news. It's a crazy time in the MCU, and I love just starting that discussion and seeing what you guys think. Also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. That support honestly means way more than you guys know, and one like goes a long way. You can also follow me on X at Jones Vibes Only, and don't forget to keep up the good vibes, guys. But is Cillian Murphy going to be Doctor Doom? I guess we'll see.